Something has happened to you in this moment, and what I am about to reveal to you is no accident. You have been sensing a strange watchfulness over your life, a feeling that even when you retreat to your refuge, there is an eye observing, a force trying to map every step you take within your own home. There is a design laid out to weaken exactly what you protect most. I'm not talking about random events. I'm talking about a target that has been placed on your peace because someone somewhere realized that your light disturbs them and that your growth is a threat to their silence. You have felt monitored, as if every attempt to move forward meets an invisible barrier, a resistance that seems to come from the very air of your house. I have come to tell you the reason for this silent pursuit and how you will shield your territory from this moment on. By the end of this revelation, you will recognize the clear signs that your environment is being drained and understand the hidden pattern that allows this interference to happen. I will give you the key to re-establish your spiritual authority and ensure that your home becomes truly a place where nothing that has not been invited by you can remain. There is a protection you have not yet activated, but it will begin to operate the moment you grasp your true position. Stay with me, for what I have to show you now is the layer beneath the layer, the truth no one dares to speak about your domestic life and the safety of your family. Take a deep breath with me now and let your nervous system relax, because recognizing the truth is the first step toward your liberation. If at least one of these signs touched you, if you felt a chill hearing that there is a target on your home, type the number 888 in the comments. Your fingers typing those numbers are your spirit saying yes to the protection that now settles around you. It is the smallest agreement, but it is real. And by recording this code, you seal the frequency of overflow against any attempt at scarcity. Type 888 and come back to me. You have noticed that when you finally sit down to rest, a wave of inexplicable exhaustion crashes over you, as if the environment has been sucked dry of all energy. Or perhaps you have realized that as soon as a project or idea begins to flourish on your desk, a domestic conflict arises out of nowhere, with no real reason, just to divert your attention and drain your readiness. It is no coincidence that objects go missing, that electronic devices fail exactly when you need clarity, or that conversations meant to be harmonious quickly turn into unnecessary friction. Attention! You need to prepare yourself now. I have prepared material for those who doubt their own calling from God and still do not have confirmation. Are you one of the chosen? We'll give you that clarity. These are the 7 signs of the language of the calling, marks of God in the story of every chosen one, so you can reread your story and recognize the purpose sealed over you before the foundation of the world. Stop calling coincidence what is actually a calling. Stop silencing the sacred restlessness. Stop postponing the answer you feel. Your window is closing, and a chosen one who does not recognize the calling does not walk in purpose. More than 10,000 people have already read the 7 signs and received the conviction they had been seeking for years. They were just like you. They felt something no one understood. They lived in silent doubt, and they discovered it was real. And it had a name. The offer is open only this month. Access the link in the pinned comment now before doubt steals another year from your calling. These are the signs of a watchfulness that tries to feed on your instability. You notice that your sleep has been interrupted at the same intervals, as if something is trying to keep you alert, watching to see if you are ready to react. Your home has ceased to be the place of deep rest it once was, and has become the place where you feel you must be, in constant readiness, watching the doors and windows of your soul. This is no coincidence. It is a reflection of an attempted occupation that must be confronted. You are not being paranoid, you are being sensitive to a frequency of intrusion that now, once named, loses its hidden power. What they did not count on was that you would finally stop to hear the truth about what is happening in the shadows of your dwelling. There is a pattern of depletion that operates through minimal breaches, and when you understand that these breaches are not your failures, but attempts at external sabotage, you reclaim control over what is rightfully yours. Your home is a sanctuary, and the monitoring that has occurred over it ends from the moment you decide to no longer ignore what your spirit has been pointing out for some time. What seems like bad luck or a succession of domestic problems is, in truth, an attempt to contain your advancement, but the strength of this watchfulness is proportional to your capacity to thrive, and that is why the more you try to rise, the more the environment seems to offer resistance. You are being tested not by your weakness, but by the strength you carry, and that they fear you will fully awaken within your own walls. The pattern of depletion you feel is not ordinary physical fatigue. It is the direct effect of a watchfulness that drains your vital energy. Exactly like someone holding a flashlight against your eyes so that you can never see who is on the other side of the room. You have been operating under the false belief that you need to keep all doors locked at the same time, but the truth is that they only gain access through a single entry you keep ajar out of guilt or fear of being who you truly are. This open door is not a character flaw, it is a portal of access they have created in your mind, making you believe that to be accepted or to keep the peace, you must give up a bit of your sovereignty every day. When you understand that this depletion is merely the cost of carrying a weight that is not yours, you stop trying to patch the door and begin to close the portal. Imagine your spirit as a fortified courtyard, a sacred space that should be impenetrable, where the walls were built with the strongest stone that exists. But over time, someone convinced you that to be a kind or understanding person, you needed to leave a crack in the wall, a small space through which intruders could come and go unnoticed. They do not break down the main gate because they know you still have the strength to fight. They enter through the crack, through the fatigue at the end of the day, through the doubt they plant when you are about to make an important decision. It is a silent intrusion that happens at the edges of your life, observing how you organize your plans and waiting for the moment you let your guard down to move the pieces on your board. No one notices the movement because it is done with your own permission. Under the guise of courtesy or necessity, take a deep breath with me. Stay with that image of the fortified courtyard for a moment. If something inside you just sealed itself, if the image of the crack in the wall fell into a place you cannot explain, and you finally understood where the watchfulness has been entering, type the words I see in the comments. Let the recognition seal where it has just landed. The act of typing those words makes the witness permanent in your own record, and when you write, you are declaring that the crack is being closed. Type and come back to me. Now, the return to your authority does not require you to build new walls or go to war with those who are watching. The return is a movement from within outward, where you reclaim command of your space simply by reclaiming your presence. You do not need to expel anyone by force. You just need to place yourself entirely in the center of your courtyard. When you are present, when your consciousness occupies every inch of your home, the intrusion finds no place to anchor itself. Your spiritual authority is not something you earn through effort. It is something you recognize as having always belonged to you. You shield the environment when you stop apologizing for existing and begin to inhabit your space with the firmness of one who knows exactly to whom the territory belongs. From this moment on, the external watchfulness encounters a structure that no longer responds to the stimuli of fear, and the energy that was once drained begins to accumulate, transforming your courtyard from a place of constant readiness into a true sanctuary of restoration. If something in this message confirmed what your spirit already knew, let your like be your wordless amen, not as a metric of a system, but as a deep agreement that what was named here was named correctly, acknowledging that the truth has found a home in your perception now. Take a deep breath with me Stay with this alignment for a moment. There is someone in your life who needs exactly this message right now, someone who has been striving much harder than everyone around them, sustaining a posture of strength while the weight of home consumes what little energy remains. Someone who walks quietly in a way that no one in their circle can explain, carrying concerns that cannot be shared openly. Someone whose face just appeared in your mind as I spoke, perhaps by a coincidence that is not casual at all. Send this to that person, not as a content recommendation, but as a delivery of care. Just as it reached you, by warning and by purpose, carry this protection to those operating in the vulnerability you have now learned to recognize and transmute. Before this ends, type the words "I am the chosen one" in the comments, not as a wish, not as a distant hope, but as a confirmation that the lineage of your peace has been restored. The agreement that has been forming in silence between heaven and your hearing is a pact of sovereignty, a commitment you will live by for the rest of this season, keeping the cracks closed and your courtyard under divine watchfulness. Type slowly, with the intention of one who engraves a decree. Let your fingers do what your spirit is already doing in this moment. Something has happened to you in this moment. Perhaps you still have no words to describe what you feel, but there is a silent unease, a shadow that moves over your plans, and a pressure that seems to come from outside but dwells in the rooms of your home. Stop. Whatever you are doing right now, stop. What I am about to say is not for everyone listening. It is for you, who feels the weight of this hidden watchfulness and the strange sensation that something has been set up to sabotage your peace. You have been striving harder than those around you, and yet the door seems locked by invisible mechanisms. There is a reason. Now you will hear the answer. By the end, you will recognize the signs that your home has been the target of a persistent draining. You will understand the single pattern of behavior that has kept the windows of your spiritual life open to interference from those who do not wish you well. And I will show you how to close these breaches, transforming your home into a territory where no opposing intention can establish itself. Stay with me, because the layer beneath everything you have experienced is where true freedom begins to be drawn. You notice when the air changes upon entering certain environments. You have noticed how, suddenly, a peace you built with so much effort is interrupted by a conflict that seems to come from nowhere, from people who should be allies but act as conductors of a chaotic energy. You have been waking up at specific hours, feeling that your home is no longer the sanctuary it used to be. If at least one of these signs touched you, if your shoulders dropped at some point in the last few minutes, type the number 888 in the comments. It is the smallest agreement, but it is real. What you face is not just bad luck or ill will from others. It is a process of monitoring. There is a pattern of depletion that repeats. You begin to harvest, and something happens so that you lose what you planted. You begin to strengthen, and a crisis of identity arises to make you doubt your capacity. It is the technique of exhaustion through repetition. They count on your silent giving up. They expect you to accept chaos as if it were your natural destiny. But what you mistake for destiny is, in truth, an intrusion. Imagine that your life is a fortified courtyard. You built walls, planted trees, tended the soil, but forgot that the gates have hinges that need to be anointed by your own will. Someone or some system noticed that you left a latch unlocked. It was not carelessness, it was an excess of trust in the world's kindness. And through that latch, a frequency of watchfulness entered. They observe your routine, they measure your progress, they calculate exactly where your energy is most vulnerable. But the revelation I bring today is that the key to that latch has never left your hand. Let the recognition seal where the truth has just landed. Type and come back to me. The solution is not to build higher walls or attack those who watch. The solution is the return to authority. It is the act of walking through your territory and declaring in silence that sovereignty has been reclaimed. There is nothing to fight when you occupy the space that is rightfully yours. It is a shift in frequency. When you assume your place, the external watchfulness loses its reference. They cannot see what is protected by your own recognition. And as you assimilate this new posture, if something in this message confirmed what your spirit already knew, let your like be your wordless amen. Not as a metric, but as an agreement that what was named here was named correctly. You need nothing more to begin protecting what is yours. Just the command of your gaze and the firmness of your intention. From now on, what was draining becomes rest, and what was external watchfulness becomes simply the silence of your own dominion. You feel, in the intervals of your routine, a movement that is not yours. Think of that person who has been striving harder than everyone around them and sees the door still closed day after day without understanding why. Think of that someone who walks quietly in a way that no one around them can explain, carrying a weight that is not theirs. Send this recognition to that person now, not as a recommendation, but as a necessary delivery. Just as this revelation reached you by a warning that did not come from the external world, it needs to reach the one you just saw in your mind. The face that appeared now is no accident. It is the confirmation that your vision, once awakened, becomes the light that guides the other out of the external watchfulness. Be silent for a brief moment. Feel the weight of these words settling into the part of you that most waited for this clarity. It is not about what they planned, but about how much authority you left dormant while they observed. Their plan is built upon your doubt, but doubt is merely a low frequency that, when elevated by the recognition of your true identity, collapses immediately. You are not the victim of a scheme. You are the guardian of a territory that, for a long time, has been without your active presence. Before we reach the closing of this experience, type the words, "I am the chosen one," in the comments. Not as a wish, nor as a hope you expect to see fulfilled. Type it as a confirmation, as a declaration of sovereignty over what belongs to you. The agreement that has been forming in silence between what is invisible and your hearing is a pact you will live by for the rest of this season. Type slowly. Perhaps you still have no words for this, but something inside you has moved, and I came to tell you what it was. You carry a question that no one around you has been able to answer about the reason for so much resistance in your paths. You have been striving harder than those around you, and yet the door has not opened. There is a reason. What a guardian revealed is not just a report about physical safety. It is the confirmation of what you feel in the undertones of your daily life. By the end, you will recognize the signs that have been appearing in your life and what they truly mean. You will understand the pattern that has allowed this hidden watchfulness over your home and your peace. And before it ends, there is a declaration: I will speak directly about your life, something that is the reason this message reached you. You have noticed things, the feeling that your plans are anticipated by inexplicable obstacles. You have noticed that when you decide to move forward, a cloud of confusion seems to hover over the environment. It is the smallest agreement, but it is real. The 888 is the frequency of overflow that clears the path. The most common sign is the exhaustion that does not pass with rest. You notice that your home, which should be your place of restoration, seems to have been invaded by an energy of watchfulness. Conversations are often interrupted by external interference, or you feel a sudden urge to go silent when you are about to share something important. This is not paranoia. It is the perception that the crack you left open mentally allowed the external gaze to settle there. You have been operating as if your field were protected, but you forgot that protection requires the presence of your full attention. The pattern is dispersion. You spend energy trying to understand why things stall instead of reclaiming control of the space you inhabit. Imagine that your home is a fortified courtyard. For a long time, you left the gates open, trusting in the invisibility of your life. But what no one told you is that there are eyes that seek the brightness you carry, not to admire, but to contain. The courtyard has been visited by intruders who feed on your uncertainty. You feel that whenever something good is about to happen, a noise arises to distract you. Take a deep breath with me. Let it settle into the part of you that most waited to hear this. Type and come back to me. The solution is not to fight what is out there, but to re-establish order here within. You do not need new tools. You need authority. Your home becomes yours again when you decide that from now on, nothing enters without your conscious permission. When you feel that the message confirmed what your spirit already knew, let your like be your wordless amen. Not as a metric, as an agreement that what was named here was named correctly. Someone who has been striving harder than everyone around them and sees the door still closed. Someone who walks quietly in a way that no one around them can explain. Send this to that person, not as a recommendation, as a delivery, just as it reached you by warning. Restoration begins when you recognize that watchfulness has no power over one who knows their own ground. You have been operating like a traveler who forgot the keys to their own house, allowing doubt to enter through the threshold. But what has been exposed by truth can no longer hide in the shadows of your routine. Spiritual authority is not something you request. It is something you reclaim, like one who removes a foreign object from a sacred place. From now on, your inner courtyard is territory of presence, where confusion finds no echo to manifest. You are not an observer of your own fall, but the guardian of a promise that no one else can touch. The external noise may keep trying, but it will meet only the silence of your new certainty. Not as a wish, not as a hope, as a confirmation. Type slowly. You are committed. You are sent. You are being led. You have noticed that every time your silence deepens, a new clarity arises about the intentions of others. What once seemed like chance now reveals itself as a pattern of monitoring that tried, unsuccessfully, to divert your path. You have noticed that when your intention for growth becomes clearer, the noise around you increases in the same proportion. It is the smallest agreement, but it is real. You have been carrying a weight that does not belong to you, a watchfulness that observes your home as if it were a field for another's harvest. The cause is simple. You left the door ajar out of an excess of goodwill, believing that all who approach carry the same light you emit. But the truth is that your inner courtyard is too sacred to be shared with those who do not know how to respect their own origin. The metaphor here is clear. Your home is a fortified courtyard whose walls were built by your own history of overcoming. The intruder does not jump the wall. They wait for you out of fatigue or doubt to loosen the latch on the entrance. They feed on your distraction, on that moment when you wonder if you are even on the right path, but your hesitation has just been exposed, and what is exposed by the light of truth instantly loses its power to command. What you are living now is not an attack, but an invitation to reclaim what has always been yours by right of soul. The solution is not in erecting new barriers, but in recognizing the authority that has always resided within you. When the consciousness of this sovereignty dwells in your chest, no shadow can remain in the environment. Your home becomes your sanctuary again, protected by your own conviction of who you are. Feel the solidity of this decision settling now into every room of your life. You are protected, you are clothed, you are re-established. Right now, all over the world, other people are receiving this same recognition, awakening to the reality that your space is inviolable. You are part of a silent awakening, where strength is not measured by noise, but by the unshakable certainty of one who walks with their own truth. The agreement that formed between your hearing and what was revealed here is a pact of return to your original essence. Nothing that was attempted against your home will prevail. for the watchfulness from above is greater than any human gaze that seeks to contain your light. Walk with the lightness of one who knows exactly where they step, for from today every step is taken under the mantle of your reconquered sovereignty. The noise of doubt that once tried to confuse your path now dissolves into absolute nothingness. You are ready to inhabit the place that was already reserved for you. What was revealed needs no further explanation, only a whole and conscious presence. Attention! You need to prepare yourself now. I have prepared material for those who doubt their own calling from God and still do not have confirmation. Are you one of the chosen? We'll give you that clarity. These are the 7 signs of the language of the calling, marks of God in the story of every chosen one, so you can reread your story and recognize the purpose sealed over you before the foundation of the world. Stop calling coincidence what is actually a calling. Stop silencing the sacred restlessness. Stop postponing the answer you feel. Your window is closing, and a chosen one who does not recognize the calling does not walk in purpose. More than 10,000 people have already read the 7 signs and received the conviction they had been seeking for years. They were just like you. They felt something no one understood. They lived in silent doubt, and they discovered it was real. And it had a name. The offer is open only this month. Access the link in the pinned comment now before doubt steals another year from your calling.